Good evening. I am extremely grateful to be here tonight in this beautiful, powerful hall of the Great Mountain. Great Mountain all around us, and the world dragon at our feet, curling and moving underneath the ground. And these are dragon times. Beginning always and ever with gratitude. Gratitude for the opportunity to gather together in Ango, winter practice period, peaceful dwelling in unpeaceful times. And to be here in the embrace and the continuity of the Tewa world. To feel the food and nourishment and continuous culture of this land unfolding and supporting our lives. And we are grateful and hopefully respectful guests in this territory. And our prayers tonight are vivid prayers. The earth is moving. Beloved Sangha members, Dharma members, family members at the Nomads Clinic in Nepal, Tibet, at the edge of Great Mount Everest, experiencing a violent shaking of the earth. Near Shikatse, one of the most sacred of all Buddhist cities. Still, Roshi told me this morning, we don't know the extent of the damage, but we do know the reach of the resilience of these lands and these people. And not only in Asia, but throughout the world, the earth is moving and speaking in its undeniable tongue. Fire, conflagration in Southern California, along the coast. Many in this room have experienced through our families this iconic fire, aeonic fire, and war, environmental devastation, social unrest, racism, gender challenges, violence and confusion, a perfect ground plot for the mind of practice. And we do not for one moment turn away. We walk right in to the fire. And gratitude to our ancestral teachers. They are present, human and more than human, with us tonight. They are present. Oh Lord, increase my bewilderment. A prayer from the Sufi world. I remember hearing it here at Upaya with my beloved Dharma brother, Hozan Alan Sanaki, teaching together, meeting chaplains from all over the country. Oh, Lord, a prayer, increase my bewilderment. We hold Hozan very close. He crossed the Great Divide into the Great Mystery on December 22nd, the very same day that Ram Dass crossed many years later. How significant. And the day that West Nisker, naughty West Nisker, was born. And tonight, particularly and distinctly, we experience the clear wind of the family house of this peacemaker order, Circle of the Way Temple. And I want to begin by acknowledging Tetsugen Bernie, Glassman Roshi, Bernie, and his wife, Jishu Ango Holmes. On January 18th in 1994, it was Bernie's 55th birthday, and they made their way to the steps of the Capitol of the United States Capitol on one of the coldest times on record and made the pledge to sit still on the Capitol steps without moving until they could understand what can we do about homelessness, AIDS, and the uprising of violence in this country. 1994. So many people came and joined Bernie and Jishu during that time, sat with them and contemplated. At night, they made their way to the largest shelter in this country, the Center for Nonviolence, and slept on the floor in the corner of the shelter, and then resumed their deep sitting for 5 days in that cold. And the Zen Peacemakers Order was founded, rose up from the snowy world, vows and precepts, and Roshi Joan is an inaugural member of this order. And this place of practice is a frontline, determined, and committed place of peacemaking. Now, Bernie had been a practicing Buddhist at that time. It was his 55th birthday for 24 years. He'd been a Zen teacher for 18 years. And still, he asked himself, fresh and strong, every day of those 5 snowy days, what peacemaking form, vow, and practice will help all beings experience interdependence? What are the forms? A fresh question. And how do we move as one body, sustained by the tenets of really not knowing deeply and intimately, recognizing that we do not know how to do? I'm not here for answers, he said, but questions, yes. How do we live really not knowing and bearing witness in community to how to uncover compassionate response to the cry of the world? Whenever I come home to Upaya, I make my way to the library and take his book, Bearing Witness, and read it cover to cover. And remember, how did he keep adding richness to this book, even though it was published so many decades ago? So the Dharma is vast and subtle. And we have a chance, more than a chance, we have a commitment to hear it, study it, and practice it, and to realize its true meaning. Or as we say in another version of this same chant, this chant we offer at Upaya from Thich Nhat Hanh and the Order of Interbeing chanting, but another version says, I vow to taste the truth of the Tathagata's teaching. So winter practice period is set aside as a time to taste the truth, taste and savor, digest, and be nourished by the truth of the Tathagata's teaching. And the question, what is the Tathagata's teaching? How does it manifest? So for us in this really important time, this precious month that opens a year that is perilous, challenging, and also calling forth our strongest forms of practice. So in this year, we're gathered to study the old stories, the old family stories of our family house, to feel the wind, sometimes the wild devil wind, the Santa Ana wind of our family house, sometimes the cool breeze. And we've made the commitment in this community for these 30 days to take a look at 300 koans selected by Ehe Dogen from Chinese Zen literature, a lifetime notebook for Dogen in writing all of his Dharma essays. Kaz reminds us, every single essay comes out of looking at these family stories, and the work is in our hands now. And we introduce a koan in Japanese, introduce a koan in Chinese and comment in Japanese. The Chinese language version is the mana Shobogenzo. I love mana. It's the bread of life, mana. Zen texts of the Song era, and Japanese version, the kana Shobogenzo, 95 fascicles. No problem. 400 family stories. We can do this. And John Dido Laurie, Zen scholar, masterful photographer, artist, teacher, Dharma brother, close Dharma brother to Roshi Joan, and a member of the White Plum Extended Sangha and tradition, core teacher Maizumi Roshi, Dharma brother of Bernie Glassman, and the founder of Zen Mountain Monastery, the Mountains and Rivers Order. Together, he and Kaz spent 7 long years translating these koans so they could be in our hands. So that, when we receive a book, we lift it up and recognize what we're holding. So for me, it's been a deep pleasure and honor to come to Upaya Zen Center, Circle of the Way Temple for the last 5 years in January. Even though you don't hear from me electronically, I am wired to you in every way. You're in my heart all year long. The course of my year is set by this time together. It truly is. And my family also, just holding the truth of coming home to Upaya in January. The first year, we studied Zen Mind, Beginner's Mind. Kozan and Kodo then decided we want to begin with Zen Mind, Beginner's Mind, and then we merged into the Denko Roku. Denko Roku, yes. And then we studied the Jewel Mirror Samadhi, Okyo Zammai, and the Gateless Gate, the Book of Serenity, and last year the Blue Cliff Record. This is big work, a Zen plunge into uncharted water, because every plunge into a koan is fresh and deep and true. And Kodo, gratitude to you and the everywhere. Gratitude to you for your discernment. A discern is a beautiful word. To discern is to separate seed from chaff, to blow off, winnow out the coverings, the casings, the protections of the seed, and to have the live seed in your hand. To discern, to take apart. The cern is the seed or the kernel. You get the kernel of the teaching. So in discernment, sorting the harvest in the storehouse with Dainin nearby. Dainin and Kodo are quite a duo. They pull a nice plow right through the ground. Original, intimate Chinese language. Their inheritance. Now they opened these old stories and noticed and discerned that there are 72 cases in these 400 or so koans that we're looking at. 72 cases are also mentioned not only in the Kana and Mana Shobogenzo, but also in the Book of Serenity, in the Blue Cliff Record, and in the Gateless Gate koan collection. 72 crossings, 72 merging, 72 warping and woofing, coming together, and the great loom of origins. And then 21 of the koans are mentioned in at least 2 of the other texts. Hence, we created a reader. Let's look at 21 koans and let's study and practice and listen and taste these koans. What is a koan? A public case, a family story, a puzzle that cannot be solved by wit. To be effective, Thich Nhat Hanh reminds us, to be in Zen keys, to be effective, a koan must signify something to you. A koan only has meaning and significance for the one who is in the circle of the way of its circumstances. It's beautiful, isn't it? That statement. To be effective, this story signifies something to you. You who are in the circle, at maybe the very center of the circle, the empty center around which the wheel of the teaching turns. You're at the empty center of the circle of circumstances. And this koan is a matter of life, death, and continuity for you. As any good story is, the world turns on stories. I always love to quote F. Scott Fitzgerald when I come to you, Paya. Draw your chair close to the precipice, and I'll tell you a story. And it's beautiful. Draw your chair. And we are on in of the precipice right now. At that wobbling, unstable, vital edge. And Susan Murphy, in a book that Roshi Joan opened to the world with her endorsement, a fire runs through all things, koans, stories, to help us meet the challenge of climate change. Susan Murphy, wonderful Zen teacher from Australia. She says and reminds us that these stories are double-rooted. They're based on Taoism. They have a groundedness deep in the old earth. Zoa Wong, sit and forget. Forget what worries you, forget what confuses you, forget what distracts you. Sit still and forget, and come back to your wild, strong Zen roots. Those two roots, Taoist roots, Zen roots, merging together, entangled. The inner tangle and the outer tangle. So in that merging, we are studying public stories, congruent with the fire that runs through all things. And we're studying and remembering, as the Buddha taught in the fire sermon, one of his first teachings, everything, O bhikkhus, is burning. Everything. And we're unafraid to be working, studying, and meeting the challenge of these times in a world that is precarious, unsettled, wobbling, wild, moving, unpredictable, and authoritative. Apocalyptic. Apocalypse, to uncover. Like the calyx, the covering of a plant. When the calyx is ripped off, when all the casings are ripped off and winnowed and blown away, the truth of what we're experiencing is apocalyptically available to us in a world that is unraveling, entangled, and precarious. A monk asked Joshu, whom we met yesterday, a monk asked Joshu, when times of great difficulty come to visit us, how should we meet these times? It's a question for these times. When times of great difficulty come to visit us, how should we meet them? And Joshu answered, welcome, welcome. The barn is burned down. Now I see the moon. Welcome. Welcome. Bienvenidos. And so, as those of us in Winter Ango and the extended community, the cloud community, and any practitioner, whether Buddhist or not, these stories are available to you. And they're not only in the Zen Buddhist canon, but throughout there may be a story that upon which your life turns and changes and is vivified and amplified in some significant way. This story would have to be vast and subtle and radical. Radical in the same sense as a root that pushes down through hard ground and is strengthened by that pushing. So a root system, when a plant either fibrously or tappingly pushes down through the living ground, the tip of the root with the exertion, and this is not a metaphor, dear ones, I have to always remind you, I'm not speaking metaphorically. The root pushes down through the soil, mucilaginous lubricant is released so that the root can continue to push down. And then you have a double mystery of the root pushing down and the plant going up. So roots and shoots, down and up, the great disco gesture. Sorry, couldn't resist it. And so when you look sincerely, when you lift up the koan collection and you search for koan, you are looking for authentic ground, for ground that is your ground, your root system, and what you need. So I looked at the 21 cases in that way. And in my body, in my heart, I felt an urge, a voice in me saying, tell me a story about the old times. Tell me a story before everything was so organized. Tell me a story that's mythic, iconic, dangerous, unsolved, a little raw, a little uncooked, a little ragged, a little randy. Tell me a story like the story of Bodhidharma meeting Emperor Wu on the edge of the great Yangtze River. Or tell me a story like the story that the flower told Mahakashyapa. Tell me some old story. Tell me a story, this from a no chant from dear friend Daigon Luke, who, one of our closest friends who died at Green Gulch many years ago, poet, actor, Zen man, quoting from a no play. Tell me a story of the old Buddha who's gone. Tell me a story of the new one not yet come. And I am born as in a dream. Who will tell me what is that me, who's put on this human flesh, so hard to come by? Tell me that story. So I found case one from the Book of Serenity. There were a number of versions of the koan that called to me. The World Honor one ascends the seat. And I thought, I'm going to read that one. And I like the World Honored one because the acronym is who ascends the seat. Who ascends the seat? So one day, I'm so serious, it's funny. I'm so serious about this. It matters so much how you choose, how you authenticate your practice. So one day the World Honored one ascended the seat, and there were other versions of this, and they conflicted with each other. And I thought, this is juicy, this is good, this is dangerous. I like this, that they don't agree. But the Book of Serenity drew me in. One day the World Honored one ascended the seat. Manjushri struck the gavel, boom, and said, clearly observe the Dharma of the King of Dharma. The Dharma of the King of Dharma is thus. And the World Honored one got down from his seat. That's it. Even after teaching for 49 years, even after more than 360 assemblies, even after sitting for 5 days at the steps of the United States Capitol, even and always remaining an old mendicant. He got down off the seat. Shakya Muni, abdicating the throne of the king of Dharma. No more kings. No more kings. Give me kinship, kindness. No more kings. He didn't say that, but that's what my body says. No more kings. Radical kindness. Shakya Muni. Noah, Kodo reminding us in Rohatsu. Shakya Muni, sage of the silent ones. And we become, in this gesture, in this bold gesture, we become the Shravakas, the listeners of the silence of the silent one. This practice, the wind of the family house and Circle of the Way temple, is silent and a wind that calls us to sit. Sit in silence and serve. Shh. Sit, silent, serve. And then a capping verse from the poet, the Empty Field poet. I'm not going to mutilate his Chinese name. Capping verse. The unique breeze of reality. Do you see? That's beautiful. Do you see the breeze? The unique breeze of reality. Do you see it? Continuously, creation runs her loom and shuttle, weaving the ancient brocade, incorporating the forms of spring. And nothing can be done about Manjushri's leaking. Sword or not, nothing can be done about Manjushri's leaking. So tonight we sit together in this great mountain hall in our unraveling times. Cloud and water wanderers, patch-robed followers of the way. We are willing to live and die together. We are. Again and again. And we're wearing the secret robes of Zen peacemakers. I remember Roshi's robe. That vivid robe. Made of little scraps from all over the world in our lives. Everything that's been discarded, living again. Everything renewed. And robes made and stitched with the unique breeze of reality. Continuous creation, running loom and shuttle, weaving ancient brocade, a single continuous thread. And we're wearing these robes in public. Fushin and Dainin are sewing these robes in public, receiving the precept robes, entrusted, alive, and in the old pattern of the rice fields. Because when the Buddha walked through India in the old times, he noticed how beautifully the rice fields fit together and said to Ananda, can we not have robes that are made like these fields? Why not? We're made of rice. Let's wear the rice field heritage. And so the initiation and the stitching of these robes comes from the old rice fields. The pattern was taken as a template and as an expression of peacemaking in very dangerous times. But again, let's come close to the precipice because there is an actual story here for me in this. I'm shaky. Can you just come stand near me for a minute? See this young man? He is from the town where I grew up, Westport, Connecticut. Yeah, we're from the same town. And he noticed that this robe I'm wearing was so raggedy. He noticed a year and a half ago. And my sister made me this robe. in 2006 when I received lay Dharma transmission from San Francisco Zen Center. And long before that, Roshi Joan knows because we were together, received that same transmission, different, but entrustment from Thich Nhat Hanh. So double entrustment. And my sister, who's an artist and had a business in New York City making beautiful designer clothing, works with pattern makers from Korea. And she said to them, can you make my sister a Buddhist robe? I found cloth, I found good linen from England. Can you make it? And they said, yes, I can make it. So they made the pattern, and then she worked with about 10 women from all over Latin America who stitched the robe. And I wore it every day. I received it in 2006 formally and wore the heck out of it. It is, I want to say, Senko noticed, it's not only threadbare, it's downright tattered. It's transparent. It's a disgrace. It is a disgrace. But he's not trying to hide the disgrace. He just wants to mend the world, to mend and be mended by the world. So luckily, my sister, we brought the robe back to the stitchers in 2018, and they picked it up, and I have to say, the women who designed the robe wept to receive the robe. They said, this has been worn every day. They make luxury clothing, which is not worn every day. And they felt it, and they held it up. They could see the light through it, literally. See the light through it. They did not offer to repair it. It took a crazy man like Senko to offer to do that. Anyway, he took this robe, and they made me a new one, which I've been wearing. It's kind of decent. And it's very decent. It's beautiful. But I've always missed the old rag because it's my rice field patch robe monk robe. So is its newer sibling. It's like the peacemaker robe that Roshi sewed so many years ago. The wolf goes through the warp. The weave is dense and fine. A continuous thread comes from the shuttle. Knitting the world, ragged, threadbare, tattered, torn, transparent, reduced to raw yarn, Senko repaired the robe. And, you know, again, we're not speaking metaphorically, but I'm an old person, I'm 77, this is a young person. You are many young people in this room. You're repairing the robe and making it new. Fresh, bright kernels of rice-like little stitches falling on a broken open, bombed, eroded, depleted field. And suddenly, we're wearing the Tathagata's teaching, and everything is new. And I wore this robe in 2012 when my daughter, who was a senior at the University of California studying environmental policy, environmental economics and policy, a big brain primate kid we've got, yeah. Anyway, but she needed money, so she worked at Chez Panisse restaurant, and they had a raffle every spring to win a special trip. And this time, it wasn't to France, it was to India. And they called out the numbers. There were 12 numbers, and at about 9, my daughter began to scream. And by 11, she was in full throat crying. And by 12, she screamed and jumped and leapt. And Alice Waters stuck a little bindi on her forehead and said, "You're going to India." Lisa won the rally, the lottery. And she said, "Mom, come with me." And so we looked, and Bernie was leading the pilgrimage. Not leading, Shantam was leading the pilgrimage. Bernie was pulled along on the pilgrimage. He said, "I'll go if we can visit the Dalits, and if we don't have too many speeches, and you don't force us to sit zazen, and we can go to see the people that are helping to clean the Ganges River, then I'll go with you." So I wore this robe on Vulture Peak with Bernie and the pilgrims, my daughter. I wore it. It was dark. It was cold. Vulture Peak, home of the Heart Sutra, the Srangama Sutra, the Lotus Sutra, When the Buddha died, the first Buddhist council is said to have met on Vulture Peak, that mountain. And there Bernie did sit zazen with us. It was freezing. He sat and chanted. Yes, I want you to stay because you make me feel it's almost over. I promise. Let's do this. No, why don't you? And so Bernie said to...
I have a part?
You do. You can do it. He said, let's sit zazen. This is Vulture Peak. Yushkantaza. Let's shkantaza. Plunge in. And then he asked one of his young students to offer the chant to the hungry spirits. Please. Come on. Yeah. This is unplanned. This is raw. You can stand up. Better. That's good.
Maybe those who know it can chant.
Good.
Calling out to hungry hearts everywhere through endless time. You who wander, you who thirst, I offer you this Bodhi mind. Calling all you hungry spirits, everywhere through endless time. Calling all you hungry hearts, all the lost and left behind. Gather round and share this meal, your joy and sorrow, I make it mine.
Robe thrown down. Bowl turned over. Leaning on a rock, great darkness opened. Robe thrown down. Bowl turned over, leaning on a rock. Great darkness opened. Oh, these are new times. Time to find new language. Queer, trans, two-spirit, gender-diverse people of all cultures, intersex people, and all those who fight to exist and love in your wholeness. Help us find the continuous thread so that we can be sewn together in the way we're meant to be. Peacemakers, help us find the continuous thread so we can be joined in these terribly dangerous and bellicose times. Environmental leaders, help us protect the living world. Help us find how to navigate fire, earthquake, flood, and famine. Help us find that continuous thread. Vast is the robe of liberation, a formless field of benefaction. I wear the Tathagata's teaching to awaken countless beings. One more time. Vast is the robe of liberation, a formless field of benefaction. The Tathagata's teaching to awaken countless beings. Thank you for this evening. And thank you for your practice and your discernment and your wholehearted showing up.